1. Bolsonaro convicted in Brazil for coup plot. Former Brazilian President Bolsonaro was convicted by Brazil's Supreme Court on charges of planning a coup after losing the 2022 election. The court found him guilty of organizing a criminal organization and attempting to undermine democracy. His sentence is 27 years and 3 months in prison, marking one of the most significant rulings against a former head of state in Brazil's modern history. The decision sets a precedent for judicial accountability and has intensified political divisions in the country. 2. Killing of Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk was fatally shot on September 10, 2025, while speaking at Utah Valley University during a Turning Point USA debate event. It was attended by about 3,000 people. He was hit in the neck by a single shot fired from a rooftop nearby. He was transported to the hospital and later pronounced dead. A manhunt followed, and on September 12th, 22-year-old Tyler Robinson was arrested. Robinson allegedly confessed to his father, then surrendered after discussions involving a youth pastor. He is charged with aggravated murder, discharging a firearm causing serious injury, and obstruction of justice. Investigators recovered a bolt-action rifle and bullet casings engraved with messages like "Hey Fascist," "Catch," and lines from anti-fascist songs. The case is under active investigation, with authorities trying to uncover motive, social media activity, and whether the suspect acted alone. 3. Nepal's Gen Z protests forced Prime Minister's resignation. Nationwide protests erupted in Nepal in early September, primarily organized by younger citizens, Gen Z, over corruption, nepotism, and the government's ban on certain social media platforms. As demonstrations intensified, protesters burned the parliament building and the presidential residence. Prime Minister K.P. Sharma Oli resigned in response. The social media bans were lifted, and opposition leaders are demanding audits and accountability. 4. Russia-Ukraine conflict, strikes, and peace talks. The war between Russia and Ukraine continues with renewed escalation. At the end of August, Russia strongly rejected European security guarantees being proposed for Ukraine, reinforcing its opposition to Western involvement. Meanwhile, Ukraine is pressing for more international support. The U.S. approved an approximately $825 million arms package that includes advanced weapons. Diplomacy remains stalled, and military strikes on both sides continue, contributing to a mounting humanitarian toll. 5. Treason charges in South Sudan. Riek Machar. Riek Machar, first vice president of South Sudan, has been formally charged with murder, treason, and crimes against humanity, especially related to an attack on a military base in Nasir in March that killed over 250 soldiers. He has been under house arrest since then. Human rights groups are raising concerns about transparency, possible political motivations behind the charges, and the potential for renewed internal violence among ethnic lines in a country already fragile from past conflict. 6th UN General Assembly resolution on Hamas and the Gaza Strip. On September 12, 2025, the UN General Assembly passed a resolution by a large majority, 142 in favor, 10 opposed, some abstentions, calling for Hamas to relinquish control of the Gaza Strip and to disarm. While the resolution is non-binding, it signals growing international pressure on Hamas amid the ongoing humanitarian crisis in Gaza. It also frames how many nations see the path forward, demands for disarmament, shift in governance, and greater protection for civilians. 7th U.S. Supreme Court to decide legality of Trump's tariffs. The U.S. Supreme Court has agreed to hear a case challenging whether President Donald Trump's sweeping global tariffs imposed under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, otherwise known as IEEPA, are constitutional. The case will examine whether the president overstepped executive powers by implementing broad trade restrictions without explicit congressional authorization. The argument is that Congress holds the power to regulate commerce as the Constitution states. However, opposing arguments show that there are trade and tariff acts that delegate authority to the executive branch. The ruling could reshape trade policy powers and set precedent for how future administrations exercise emergency authority. 8. Evergreen High School shooting, Colorado. On September 10, 2025, 16-year-old Desmond Hawley opened fire at Evergreen High School in Colorado around midday. He used a revolver, fired multiple rounds both inside and outside the school, injuring 2 students, one inside and one outside. Holly later died by suicide from a self-inflicted gunshot. Authorities say he had been radicalized by an extremist network. Social media posts tied to Holly referenced the Columbine school shooting, anti-Semitic or white supremacist content, and photographs of a firearm were shared shortly before the attack. School lockdown doors and safety protocols prevented further casualties. Of the 2 injured students, one remains in critical condition. Investigators are examining Holly's home, locker, online activity, and who he was in communication with in the run-up to the shooting. That wraps up our look at 8 of the most important events from this past week. If you found this breakdown helpful, don't forget to give the video a like. It really helps more people see this content. And if you want to stay updated with more weekly rundowns of global events explained in minutes, make sure to hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.